This video was made possible by Desky. This is my home office setup. It's what I use for content creation, it's where I play most of my video games, and it's where I spend ultimately most of my time. So I decided to change things up and make this the ultimate place for me to not only film my videos, but edit them and also relax. I'm gonna walk you through my PC setup, the computer that I use to edit these videos, all of the peripherals that I use, and how it's all put together. Now, this setup is pretty complicated because it's both a Mac and a PC setup. So there is a lot here that I think you can pull some inspiration from. And if you have any questions about anything that I'm using, let me know in the comments down below because I'm sure some of this stuff is gonna get glossed over a little bit. Now, let's start with the main desk setup since it's basically the centerpiece of how all of this functions. The thing is, I have a lot to fit on this desk, which is why I reached out to Desky. I chose a couple things for my setup that I'll casually talk about throughout this video, but the first thing that I want to mention is this massive L-shaped standing desk. This is the softwood L-shaped sit and stand desk from Desky with the American rustic pine tabletop and matte black frame. Now, this is the first desk that I've used for my setup that actually feels like endgame for me. It's 30 inches deep, which is perfect because I want to be able to have room to fit my arms and not feel super cramped. It's 60 inches wide, which means that I have a lot of space on the tabletop, whether that's to make room for my secondary display or actually have the mouse area to comfortably move my arm and play competitive shooters like Counter-Strike. But the reason that I picked an L-shaped desk despite never actually owning an L desk before is so that I could have this extra space on my right that's always a clean surface when I want to shoot some extra B-roll or do some soldering projects and so on. It's also nice because I could use my laptop here with my PC still connected if I do need to do things on both and save the hassle of switching back and forth. Now, this thing has up to a 440-pound weight capacity. It moves effortlessly up and down. It has a very smooth and stable motion that not only makes sure everything on my desk is perfectly steady, but it has no wobbling at all. It also has a very convenient integrated cable and power channel, which can power up to 9 plugs, and it just drops down and lets you stow away things like power bars and extra cables to keep your workspace clean and cable free. There's these 3 power bars that are clipped in here, and they have 3 standard power outlets on each one of them, but they also give me an additional USB-C and USB-A port for other devices or peripherals that just need power. It makes the entire desk feel very well put together. It gives me those outlets for when I need to charge something quickly, and it's very easy to get into if something needs to be replaced or upgraded on my desk. I'm also a really big fan of this Desky Smart Bluetooth controller. It allows me to save custom presets for my preferred positions, and it also includes something that I find to be really important. It's a built-in sedentary reminder, which just honestly encourages me to take regular breaks or work while standing up to help increase that blood flow and mobility. All of this can also be seamlessly controlled and customized through my phone using the Desky app. If you have an iPhone, you can also use Siri, which is kind of cool because you can make custom prompts for it to do things like raise or lower, and I think it's honestly pretty convenient. The American rustic pine is this very beautiful dark softwood. It looks really rustic, it has some nice texture, and it makes the office feel less clinical, which is why I decided to pick it. I will say filming in like darker areas and having everything being dark is not as good as like having a light room, but I also have to live in here, and I really like how this looks, and I like how it makes me feel when I'm in this room. On the desk though is where things start to get really complicated. I guess we'll start with the computers that I use. One is a MacBook Pro that I bought from Apple Certified Refurbished. It's an M4 Pro MacBook Pro. It has 48 gigs of unified memory, a 2TB SSD, and what I like most is that it has the nano texture coating, which is really nice for traveling. This is what I use to edit since I use Final Cut Pro, and its 14-inch size is perfect for carrying around with me, especially when I go on trips like CES, for example. Now, for the PC, I'm using a custom build. It has an RTX 5090 Astral OC from Asus ROG and an Intel Core Ultra 285K. This is what I use for video games, Discord, and it's the machine that I might start to use for streaming and potentially even video editing when I do decide to teach myself DaVinci Resolve. They're both connected to everything on the desk. So whether that's the Edifier MR3s that I use as my studio monitors for editing videos or listening to music, my Shure SM7B, which is the mic that I use for voiceovers, for short form content, and for Discord when I'm playing games with the boys, and tucked away, a little bit hidden out of the way, I have the Rodecaster Duo from Rode, which is the audio interface that that I use for the speakers and the microphone that I just mentioned. The reason why it's tucked away is because everything is just set up. I don't have to change anything, and I don't need it to be visible to me because I'm not actually changing anything on the interface. And it's also a little big, and with that second monitor there, it does kind of get in the way. Now, the edifiers and my main display, which is the 4K OLED 240Hz monitor from Asus, just sit above Desky's minimal monitor stand, also in American Rustic Pine to match. And if you actually watched my last setup video, which was about a year ago now, you'd seen that I had a different monitor riser. I like this monitor stand a lot more because the height and depth are perfect, and it obviously matches the setup a whole lot better now. It's a great addition for storing smaller everyday things underneath, and it's also where I keep my MacBook tucked away when it's docked in the setup. It fits my monitor and my speakers perfectly, despite this being a 32-inch panel, and it does keep it at an optimal height for me, especially for those long days. And to get the monitor look like it's just floating above the riser, I am actually using Desky's single slim aluminum monitor arm. Now, I also use this on the vertical monitor that's mounted to the right, which is the 540Hz Asus ROG Tandem OLED 27-inch display. And don't roast me for using this as a vertical monitor. I know that it's very overkill. It's like a comp PC player's dream display. But either way, both of these monitor arms are from Desky. They don't shake, they don't wiggle, and they're actually very sturdy. You can even tighten them once you've had your desired height to prevent them from moving. There's also an integrated cable routing channel inside of the monitor arm, which does keep the cords tucked away neatly and very out of the way. And the space gray looks really clean. And as someone who's only ever tried like budget $20 Amazon monitor arms, I truthfully didn't know that they could actually be this good. I thought every monitor arm that I've bought was just cheap, and I guess that's because it was, but I'm telling you, this is like actually a really big upgrade for me. Now, for the mouse, when it comes to Mac, I use the Keychron M6, since it's a lightweight mouse with a gaming sensor, but it's an ergonomic mouse that also has a vertical scroll wheel. It's also very cheap for what it is, especially compared to the Logitech MX Master, which I think this rivals aside from its much worse build quality, but I find this thing very hard to get rid of because it's so good. For PC, I do use something different though. I use the Logitech G Pro Wireless Superlight 2C. It's a much smaller, lighter gaming mouse, and I find the shape for playing competitive FPS titles to be the best for me. It's a little newer, it's still pretty expensive, but to be honest, I am very happy with it. I did pay for it out of pocket. It is very expensive, but I haven't really found a mouse that I've liked anymore. There is that new one, which of course they just released because I just bought this one, but whatever. The keyboard is also a Yunzi AL71, if I'm saying that right. I found it at Canada Computers for less than $100, but I like it a lot. It's an all aluminum chassis. It feels very premium, and I like its smaller case size, especially for playing games. Now, everything you see here on this desk is connected to the CalDigit TS5 Thunderbolt dock, and this allows for a one cable setup. It allows for Ethernet to be passed through. It's what I use as my SD card reader, and the entire setup wouldn't be possible without this little box. I have used the CalDigit TS4 now for about like 3 years. It's been the single most important part of my setup. It's allowed me to have not only my Mac connected with all of the peripherals that I use, but it's enabled me to have like a dual PC setup. And I genuinely believe like if you use a Mac, if you use it docked as your main workhorse, having one of these things is like a lifesaver. So that's the main desk where pretty much everything happens. But there's a couple small things that I want to show you that are related to how I make these videos. So one thing that people don't talk about enough when it comes to shooting content in these small spaces is the chair. And I know that sounds silly, but I'm not kidding. Like, there's two things that are very important for me. One, it needs to be very comfortable since I sit in it for long hours. And two, it can't have a headrest since I don't want to see the chair behind me when I'm shooting these videos. So that's why I asked for the Desky Evoke. It's a low back ergonomic office chair, which is a very huge upgrade from what I was coming from. It has a really like very padded cushion. I've been using this for about 2 months now, and it really does feel the same as it did when I took it out of the box. The actual backrest and lumbar support feel very good. I feel very supported in it. It's height adjustable. It has a nice dynamic back tilt function that lets me recline in it comfortably. And the reason that I chose it was purely because it's smaller, it's easier easier to get out of the way, and also because I film talking head videos, I don't want the chair to be in the frame peeking over my shoulders. But I've used a lot of little chairs like this, and specifically for that reason, and none of them have actually been comfortable enough to make me want to sit in them. This chair was very surprising from a comfort perspective. I used to want to leave the office the second that I got work done, and now I've been sitting here putting hours in and playing games like Elden Ring very late at night on my PC, rather than just hopping immediately into bed. And I love it. My wife doesn't, but I do. So you might have noticed I do also use another table in this very small office space, and this is where I film all of the A-roll, and this is also where I do the top downs. So this is the American Rustic Pine. It's a 48 by 30. It's the same spec pretty much as the other desk with those matte legs and the power bar at the bottom, but this is a very important desk because it needs to be deep so that the camera can sit way further behind it and not be in the way. It also has to be a standing desk so that I could use it to adjust its height to get the perfect shot for my top down, since my camera is actually mounted on the ceiling above it. And it also has to be really sturdy, since I don't want anything that's on here that I'm filming to be wiggling and wobbling around. I use my MacBook on this table when I'm filming these A-rolls as my teleprompter. It's plugged into my audio interface for when I'm recording audio, and this desk also has the microphone that I use to shoot these videos, which is the Audio-Technica AT825R. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the entire setup. I will say, like, the whole filming area is not as impressive or as cool as the desk setup is, but this is where everything gets done. I do it all in this small room. So if you have any questions about the gear that I use or why I decided to choose it, ask away in the comments down below. I'll answer pretty much everything. And if you want to check out anything from Desky here that I mentioned, I will put links in the video description as well. And I will also throw in some of the gear that I use that you might be interested in. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this one. A like and a sub to the channel goes a very long way. Shout out to everyone over at Desky for making this video even possible. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.